This video, the whole point is to show you how to make your website better, how to improve it, how to turn it into a conversion machine. And there's really only four things that we're going to do, right? Four steps. But I'll be honest, the four steps, that was just kind of a catchy tagline. There's a lot more that we can do. But we'll break it down into four specific steps, and then I'll go through the process a little bit. All right. We are going to cover all this stuff, all kinds of cool stuff. And then I'm going to show you some examples. We'll walk you through a bunch of examples. So here we go. The very first thing that we need to realize when it comes to selling on a website is, so just right here, follow along. Actually, we'll share this document with you. We'll send that to you. Anybody who wants it, go ahead and drop doc down below in the comments in the Facebook group. Just comment doc, and we'll make sure that you get this document. This is all the notes, and it includes links to the example websites that we're going to look at, the example pages that we're going to check out. So if you want access to this, just drop doc in the doc in the comments on the Facebook group, and we'll send it to you. All right, so we can break up your website really into kind of a four-step process, or four phases of the website. The very first one is the homepage, right? You have a homepage, you have a product category page, you have product pages, and then you have a checkout. Okay. So on the homepage, this is super critical. Like, this is the most important part of your website, because this is your opportunity to give someone and to make a first impression. Because the vast majority of people that are coming to your website, they are not people that already know you and that have already purchased from you, right? Or at least that are coming to your homepage specifically. The vast majority of visitors to your homepage, they are not familiar with you. They do not know you. They don't know your business. They don't understand what you do, or what you do well or superior to other people. They don't know what makes you special or unique. So the homepage, this is the first impression, right? So this is critical. This is super important. We nail this. And we're going to cover some things to not do. Actually, a lot of things not to do, and then some things that I want you to do. So right here, the homepage, you can think of it as the top of your funnel, right? It's, if we're looking at a sales funnel, or just take funnel, right? At the top of the funnel, the homepage, one of the purposes is to kind of guide people down through a process. All right. So it's wide at the top, it's wide at the homepage, and then we're going to narrow it down as we go to the product category pages and product pages and checkout process. All right. And like we said, first impression is everything. The next thing that it needs to do is your homepage needs to clearly communicate the benefit of your products and your business. Okay, this is really important, is that when you're communicating a benefit, you're not talking about yourself. All right. On the homepage, you should not be talking about yourself. You should not be talking about this is our story. This is our business. This is our ranch. This is where we started and where we are now. Like, that is not what the customer wants to know, right? You could practice maybe we should type this in, the WIFM principle. What's in it for me, right? That's what they are thinking, right? Like, what's in it for me? When you talk about yourself, you're not doing that. You're communicating stuff that your customers really don't care about. They care about themselves. They care about what's in it for me as the customer, as the visitor. Okay. So the third thing that we're trying to do, kind of in order of priority, is we're trying to create this environment on the homepage where we establish this, we're able to establish trust. We're able to get people to know us, like us, and trust us. All right. And the very first thing that we need to do before we start building out the homepage, before we start moving stuff around and dropping in headlines and images and all that, is you have to start with the end in mind. So you have to determine up front who it is that you're trying to sell to, right? Who are you actually trying to get your product into their hands? Like, who's your target customer, right? Or we call, in Grasshead Marketing, we call it your customer avatar. Okay, your customer avatar, this is the exact type of person that you want to have as a customer, as a buyer, right? And so the more detailed and specific that we can get with this, specifically on, like, what do they care about? What do they value? What do they prioritize? What are the things that matter to them? Well, that's really going to determine everything else that we do in the whole website. And especially that's true on the homepage, right? So we don't want to be putting out like general things, like things that are like meant to appeal to everyone, right? Because if you are out there and the message that you're communicating to the marketplace is, hey, we're for everybody. Well, guess what's going to happen? No one is going to buy. Okay. And so when you say we're for everybody, whoever likes healthy food, that's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. You got to talk to the moms out there that are worried about their kids. You got to talk to the dads out there that want peace of mind. You got to talk to the specific customer avatar that you want to have. Now, a common question we get asked all the time is, can I only have one customer avatar? It's like, no, you can have a ton of different customer avatars, but you should start with clearly defining one. Start with one and just nail that market. And then you can start introducing multiple customer avatars. And eventually you could have, a dozen or 20, but start with one. Okay. So everything that you do in your business, not just on the website, but everything that you do is with this person in mind, right? So this, depending on who you are targeting, well, this determines your images, the offers that you're making, the products that you're assembling, right? These bundles. It determines the sales copy, so the words that you use. It determines the testimonials you use, and on and on and on. So this is super critical that we determine your target audience, your customer avatar up front, first thing, before we do anything else. Okay. Before we go and choose a color scheme, before we choose fonts, before we choose images, before we choose even an e-commerce platform to use, customer avatar comes first. So next is we determine your call to action. All right. So on the homepage, there are two calls to action, right? A CTA is what we call it in marketing slang. So your call to action, your primary call to action. So this is like on your homepage, what are the things that you are telling your audience to do, right? What's the action that you're trying to get them to take? Well, you want two calls to action. The primary one is you're trying to get them to know you, like you, and trust you, and to get on a list, right? You want them to subscribe, to give you their contact info, to get on your email list in some way. All right. And the reason being is because keep in mind, like most of the people, 95% of the people who are landing on your homepage don't know you from Adam. Okay. And so we want to get them to give us their email address so that we can market to them and educate them on who we are and what we value and what we do and how we can help them, right? What we do that is unique and superior, and how that will help them and how we can help them. Okay. And a lot of that takes place over email and over time. Having said that, we can establish trust on the homepage, but some people, it's a longer process. All right. And some people just don't have time. Some people are distracted. And so we want to make this first primary call to action like, hey, like enter the giveaway or subscribe to the newsletter or claim this gift card. All right. So, yep, that's the primary call to action. And on the homepage, we'll cover this in just a little bit, but you are going to be promoting that primary call to action in two different spots. You're going to cover it in the upper right-hand corner. And this has been tested. This is like not just in grass-fed or selling a consumer or selling a meat product. It's like all consumer goods. You want this in the upper right-hand corner of your website. Okay. And then you'll have it again a second time down further below on your website. All right. On your homepage. So that's the primary. The secondary call to action. This is where we are trying to help customers make a buying decision, right? We're trying to help them get what they want. And the way that we do that is like, for example, if our secondary call to action, what not to do would be like, don't say, like join our farm club or subscribe to our monthly, bundle, right? Or our monthly offer, monthly product, right? That's not what you want to say, not on the homepage. Instead, you want it to be a soft offer. So this is like a hard offer. It's like buy or join or get started, right? On the homepage, don't do that. You'll scare people away. No one will click and no one will buy. Instead, and again, this is not just like we've obviously tested this, our clients have tested this, like this holds true, but this is across all consumer goods. All right. Instead of like subscribe or to our farm club to be really clear, the farm club is that's what we call like our monthly product subscription, right? Like a farm club, you could get 20 pounds delivered every month, or a 10-pound box, a bundle delivered monthly or bi-monthly, right? That would be an example of a farm club. So this is not a newsletter. This is a paid product, a paid offer. So instead of saying subscribe or join or get started, we say learn more about our farm club. Okay, that's a soft offer. This, if you were to compare these side by side, and you had two buttons on your homepage, and one said like join our farm club, and the other said learn more about our farm club, 10 to 1, the learn more about our farm club would get the clicks. Like they'd get 10 times more clicks. Okay. So soft offer. By the way, guys, as we're going through this, you need to recognize that any small tweak that you can make in your website, any one little thing can produce an incredible result, right? Like a simple shift in a headline can double your sales conversion. So literally every one of these things that we're going to cover today, if you just will implement them, just please implement them, right? Don't like learn this and feel good about it and then do nothing. Like learn it and then take immediate action, right? If you got a lunch date, cancel the lunch date so you can go make these changes on your website. Get it done, okay? Because this one little change right there, like you could literally double your sales just by doing that, okay? And don't take it from me, like don't take my word for it. Go test it. Go make the change and then look at the data on your own website, okay? Because the sad reality is in our industry, in the grass-fed industry, this average sales conversion on a website, it's about 0.2%. So you got to have almost 1,000 people on average to go to your website before you get a customer. Like that's just abysmal. Some of you might be higher. Some of you might be crazy, right? All the way up at 0.5. And so all you need is 200 people to come to your website before you get a sale. But, and there maybe are a couple superstars out there that you're getting, 0.8%, but it's really abysmal. And some of these little things implemented, you can double, triple, quadruple your sales conversion. All right. So we've determined your calls to action, your primary call to action, secondary call to action. And now here's something that we're going to actually draw out. So we're going to get fancy. Let me get fancy real fast. So we're going to draw out this customer value journey. Now, if you're not familiar with the customer value journey, so customer value journey, okay? The customer value journey, this is just kind of it's the process that people go through before they buy a product, right? Before they buy. And it's kind of the whole, like the lifetime process of one of your customers. All right. So where do we start? We start with your customer becomes aware that you exist, right? And so maybe that's through a Facebook ad, maybe it's through word of mouth, maybe it's through a friend, right? Or just social media somehow. So they become aware that you exist. Okay. Next is they engage with you. Okay. They engage with your business somehow, right? And that could be maybe they click on one of your posts or they click on an ad and they go to your website, right? Or they go to your sales funnel, or they go, for the sake of this training, we'll say website. Okay. And then the next step in the customer value journey is that's where we convert them. Okay. So we convert, or they are converted into being a customer. This is where they pay us for the first time. Okay. And then after conversion is we ascend them up our product value ladder. That means this is where we are getting them to buy our additional, like other products at higher prices, higher profit margins. It can also mean that they're buying more consistently, more frequently, right? So after ascension is we want to get them to where they are, they refer other customers. Okay, so they refer customers, other people that are just like them, other dream customers, right? That meet or fit our customer avatar. Then after that, this is a big one. This is where, there's a lot of money here, but this is where they become evangelists. So they evangelize our business, right? They evangelize our brand. They start telling their friends and family and neighbors and coworkers about us. And so this whole thing is called, again, the customer value journey. So maybe I should actually write that out. So this is the customer value journey. And when we are, right, like awareness, again, this is before they see the website. Awareness is really going to be, again, like they hear from a neighbor, a family member, one of your existing customers, or they see you online, on Facebook, on social media somewhere. And then they engage with us, right? They get on the website. And then it's the job of the website to get them to convert. Okay. Now, some of you, I'm sure, are clients that are gonna be watching this, and so you know that we actually don't use websites that much to acquire customers, or rather, I should say, we do. It's just that we focus specifically on using sales funnels. So we actually take people from the awareness to the engage to the convert, and even up to the ascend sometimes using a sales funnel instead of a website. So let me make the distinction between or just why that is. Okay, so we use a sales funnel to convert visitors or prospective customers into buyers, into becoming customers. And the reason why is because it's more effective than a website. Having said that, today is all about websites. It's not about sales funnels, and you still need a website. In fact, I mean, like everybody needs a website, okay? So we're covering websites and specifically the homepage right now because the bigger you get, right, and the more exposure you get in the marketplace, the more customers you acquire, the bigger your list and your social media presence, the more people will start showing up on your homepage, right? But this is like a really key distinction. I'll type this in the notes. We never, ever, ever send people on purpose to the homepage, okay? Ever. We never send people to the homepage. Okay. So right now we're focusing at this part of the training on how do we improve our homepage, but that's not because we send people there on purpose. It's because you're going to have a ton of people that just show up on your homepage. Right. And so we want to be able to capture that opportunity. Right. So talking about right now, how do we build a good homepage? This is all about capturing this opportunity, right? Like the organic traffic that's just kind of shows up on your homepage. We're never going to send people to your homepage. Okay. That's a terrible thing to do. So never do that. All right. If anybody has questions on any of this stuff, please drop them in the chat on Facebook or right here if you're joining us live in Zoom, drop them in the Zoom chat. So yes, we're never sending traffic to the homepage, but we do want to optimize and take advantage of the opportunity for all the people that do come to the homepage organically. All right. So here we go. Back to the document. All right, so now we've covered the customer value journey. And so now it's time to start wireframing out our homepage. All right, so wireframing the homepage, here's a few things. We're going to cover all this before we actually start like laying out the homepage itself. Or actually, I should say right there, all of this, okay? So one of the purposes of the homepage, like we've already talked about, it's to make it easy. Like one of the things we want to do when we're wireframing this out and building it is that we want to make it as easy as possible for people to navigate to get to where they want to go. All right. We do not want to overcomplicate things. We want to keep it very simple for people to arrive at their destination of choice. All right. And here are some of the ways that we do that, right? By limiting the total number of paths or options that are available to them. So if you were to go look at the average, like, farm website that's selling a product direct to the consumer, man, there are like 86 different things you could click on the homepage. And that, like, a confused mind rarely says yes, right? When they look at all of that, they're just going to go, nope, I'm out. And then that's what's called a bounce, right? They go to your homepage and there's just too much going on. And so they leave. Okay. So we want to limit the total number of paths or options and minimize complexity. You want your website visitor to like get what you are and what you do and who you are and what the benefits are for them at a glance, right? Just like instantaneously. They hop on and within 5 seconds, like, oh, okay, cool. I have some idea of what these guys do. I want to learn more. One of the key ways that we do that is the images that we use on the homepage, specifically the main background image, which is going to be the background image of the header up at the very top. And I'm going to draw all this out and I'm going to show you examples here in just a minute. So the goal is to make it, simple, easy for them to select a product category. Okay, a product category. We'll get into that. I'm about to pull up some examples. We'll jump down to number 2 right here. One of the other focuses of this is to turn cold traffic, these strangers, into warm traffic, right? To get them to know you, like you, and trust you. So we've already covered that. And we have to assume that the majority of homepage traffic, these people have no idea who you are, okay? Or at least they don't know you very well. So this right here, this is controversial. That doesn't mean that there's a chance that it's wrong. It just means a lot of people who don't know what they're talking about disagree. And so, and that is, yes, We do want to share our story, but in doing so, we want to speak to the values, beliefs, mission, and purpose of our business in a way that is helping the consumer, right? That is focused on them. And so it's not about us, okay? And so when we're doing this well, what we're effectively doing is we're planting our flag and raising it up so that all the other people who believe what we believe and value what we value and want to receive the benefits that we can offer them, that they can see our flag and go, oh man, that's who I want to be with. That's who I want to do business with. That's the farmer that I want to have a relationship with. Okay. So now we're going to jump into the homepage layout. And we're going to go through this and then we'll look at some examples. All right. So again, any questions, just drop them in anywhere in either chat on Zoom or in the Facebook. I'm just checking to see if there are any that I might have missed. All right. So some homepage layout tips. Number one, simple wins the day. Every time, keep it simple. Keep it very, very simple. Okay. Number two is limit the header navigation links to 3 to 4. And so the header navigation, that's at the very top. Okay, it's a very, let me show you an example right here. This is the KUIU brand. This is my hunting brand of choice. And you see up here, there are 3 things that you can do. All right, 3 things. So we're going to limit those header navigation links. Do not put, like, save this, your About Us pages. Don't put that at the top. Save the Contact Us, save the About Us, the support, save all that stuff for the footer. All right, save all that stuff for the footer, which goes at the bottom of the page. And like we've already said, the primary call to action is going to be up in the upper right of your header. All right, your header is just the very top, right? It's the top of the screen. It's like your header is up top. It's like the top third. And then when we say like above the fold, which is newspaper speak, but it translates to the internet, it's everything that the customer can see when they go to the website without having to scroll. And so it's all the information that they can gather without needing to scroll down. Okay. Headline, super important. Like the headline and the background image are by far the most important parts of your homepage. So on a headline is not saying beef for sale. A headline is not saying a local farm you can trust. Okay. A headline, what it does is it positions the customer as the hero and the business as the guide. Okay, does that make sense? It positions the customer as the hero, right? So we make it about them. It's about what they want, right? It's about what they need, what they desire. We make it about them. And it positions the business as the guide. Like, here, we're here to help you get what you want. We're here to help you live the life that you want to live, to have what you want, to feel what you want to feel, right? So, and then this ties into the background image. The background image, for the love, stop using pictures of cows on your background images. Stop. That has nothing to do with the customer. And yes, in our minds as a producer, it has everything to do with the product, but not to the customer. And frankly, most of your customers don't want to think about their steak having just been some beautiful cow on pasture. All right, so stop using images, please. Again, none of this stuff is my opinion. This is all stuff that we've tested. I've reviewed hundreds. I don't want to say 1,000, but it's got to be pushing pretty darn close to 1,000 websites in this industry specific, in our industry. And this is what the data shows. Okay, so when we test an image, and I am preaching about the mistakes that we made, right? Because we did this when we first got started. Like, we totally made these mistakes. Our first image was an image of me standing next to, some of you maybe even remember, it was a long time ago, 2014, but some of it was me standing next to a bunch of cows that were eating grass or eating off like a hay bale. I mean, terrible image, right? And so instead, an alternative image that would be great to use for your background header image on your homepage is, if your target customer, think of your target customer again, right? Scroll back up, think of your target customer. Who are you trying to sell to? Who are you wanting to serve with your product in your business? If it is like a busy mom who loves to cook, right, and who wants to eat healthy, and cares about the nutritional value of the food that she's feeding her family, then that background header image, this is what we call a hero shot. Make that background header image a mom sitting around a dinner table or the kitchen table with a couple kids, and they're all looking at each other smiling, right? Because that's what you are trying to sell. That's what you're trying to provide. It's a happy family dinner. It's not beef, and it's certainly not a cow. Okay, does that make sense? You guys get that? So that right there, you make that change your background image to something like that, where it positions the customer as the hero, and watch your bounce rate, meaning the percentage of people that go to the homepage and then just exit out. You will watch that like literally cut in half. Okay, that means that you'll have twice as many people that are staying on your website. All right. So, okay, moving on. We have already covered this. So the hero image, this is just showing your customer in their desired after state. So when their problem has been solved with the help of your product, right? So maybe the problem of your target, if your target customer is that busy mom who likes to cook and likes to eat healthy, then maybe one of her problems is having great food, right? Maybe having enough family dinners, making things that the kids enjoy. And that's maybe like, that's her before state, right? Before you come into the picture, family dinner is like this, right? It's like people are frustrated, and it's the food is, not great, and nobody's happy, and nobody's talking, and your teenage daughter's moody, which you can't change that with some good food. I don't typically, in my experience, but we want to show in that hero shot like the after state, right? Does that make sense? Like their desired after state. Okay, super powerful stuff. Another thing that you can have on your homepage, somewhere typically below the header. And again, we'll go through these last few, and then we'll take a look at some examples. Is a trust bar. A trust bar, simply, you've seen these on websites all over. It's just like a bar across the page, where maybe it has like, other reputable businesses that they've partnered with, right? Or if they've been featured in like local news outlets, or they have even testimonials, right? You could put that across. And all that is, it's just like at a glance, again, it's for people to like at a glance see that, like see things that make them feel like, okay, these guys are legit, like they're a real business. Now that doesn't mean that you have to be featured in, I don't know, like the Home Living magazine or something in order to establish trust. Again, you can just like throw up some testimonials, and that will go a long way to establish trust. So that's a trust bar. Another great thing that you can have is an explainer video. Think about some of the websites that you've been on, where they're not just throwing up some images and some sales copy, but there's an actual video. And on the video, they're talking about, hey, this is what we do, and this is how we can help you, and this is the benefits or the solutions that we offer, right? And this is what we care about and value, right? So you're communicating that marketing message, that core message, through video, which is super powerful. I don't want you to feel like you need to have a video to begin, because you don't, okay? But videos help. So the next part of the homepage is like a how it works section. Now, you don't have to have this, but it's a great thing to throw in, especially if you see this a lot on, not in grass-fed so much, except for our clients, but you see it a lot in vegetable CSAs, right? Is they'll have like on their homepage, it'll be like a how it works, right? Like you join the CSA and we harvest the vegetables, and then every week you get to you come to the farm and pick up your, beautiful or delicious harvests or bounty of fresh veggies, right? And so that's an example of how it works. How it works that we used was, when you buy from, or when you join, because we launched actually a co-op at first back in 2014. And so it was, when you join the co-op, this is what happens. We go and we hand select these great cattle. We take them to a local local butcher, right? Like a third generation artisanal, family owned butcher. And then where your meat hangs for 18 to 21 days, dry ages for flavor and tenderness, and then is expertly like hand wrapped, right, in white butcher paper, yada yada yada. And so we just explain how it works when you buy from us, and that can be super simple. And then this is where you would throw in like that primary call to action again. So if it's like enter the giveaway, you could have a little section that says enter the giveaway. And I'll show you again some examples in 1 second. And then last thing on your homepage is the footer. Okay, the footer is where you put like links to your blog or your about us, your social media, your privacy policy, or like wholesale accounts, you know, if people are interested in that, support, all that stuff. That all goes on the footer. Okay, so we will now take a look at some examples. Actually, first, let me iterate. You do not. So we're going to take a look at US Wellness Meats, Omaha Steaks, and Chicago Steak Company. I'm going to show you, these are examples of what not to do. Okay. So the goal of the homepage, one of the goals is we want to capture their contact information, right? If possible. And then we also want to help people narrow down their desire and get what they want and help them make a buying decision. Okay. And the way that we do that is we go from homepage to a product category. We want them to select a product category and then to a product page. Okay. And I'll show you some examples. Actually, we'll just start with KUIU. So this is their homepage, right? This is the header up here. The header, they've got just these three options, right? And then we scroll down and they've got like their new, kind of their new stuff, right? But if you were to select anything, these are what's called product categories: jackets and vests, pants and shorts, shirts and tops, packs, accessories, right? So if we click on jackets and vest, so the purpose of that homepage, right, is to get you to select a product category to help the customer narrow down what they're looking for. So here are all the jackets and vests, and now it's showing products. So the purpose of this product category page is to help the customer select the product that they're interested in. Okay, so I select that. Now here's the product page. Now we'll come back to this when we cover product pages. And it's the same if we were to look at North Face, right? These are all product categories: men's, women's, kids, bags and gear, right? And then they break it down even further: new arrivals, sale, jackets and vests, right? So we click on new arrivals, takes us to product. So the billion-dollar company North Face has a page that's broken on their website. You saw it here first. Okay, so we click on men's. This is a product category, right? And now it's offering other product categories. So they're trying to narrow down. And this is because they'll have maybe 3 or 4 levels of product categories because they have thousands of products. You will only have one. So I click on jackets and vests. Now here again are the products, right? Click on a product. Here's the product page. All right. Okay. So when it comes to your product categories, simple is key, right? The goal is to narrow down the interests of the customer and guide them in their desires to the thing that they're actually looking for, that they want. And so you have to keep things simple. So less is more when it comes to product categories. Let me give you some examples of product categories. It could be, maybe you have beef and chicken and lamb, or maybe you have bundles and retail cuts and bulk, or maybe you have steak boxes or family dinner specials or ground bundles, right? So those would be examples of the different types of product categories. And so just keep it simple and limit your product categories, right? I mean, you could have up to, 10 or 12 product categories, but honestly, like, keep it simple. Just think of the customer in mind when you are determining how many product categories and how many products that you have. Keep that customer avatar in mind, and everything that you do, every decision you make, should be with them in mind, right? How will this help serve them best? How will this help them navigate to the thing that they want? Okay. So here are some businesses that you should not model. And so US Wellness Meats, we'll take a look there first, because they're one of the big players in our industry. But I'm here to tell you, you're not them, right? And you don't want to be them, because their business model is completely different than yours. They have a volume business model, right? Their business model is based on volume. They have to sell millions of pounds of product to make any money. You don't want to be in that business. It's a terrible business to be in, and there's not room for more than 1 or 2 people. Okay, so you don't want to be there. But so we'll call out the things that they're doing well, right? Look up top, right? Actually, let's go through the checklist. What are the things that they're doing wrong, right? Well, first of all, look at all the different things that they can do up there. I mean, there's a lot going on. Okay, it's not too bad. We've seen much worse, but like, you compare this versus the options up here, right? Like, which one is simpler? Which one is easier to navigate? Okay, so super simple, but they do have product categories, right? So if we were to choose, beef, that's a product category, or lamb or bison. But let's scroll down and see what else they've done right. So they've got a couple, right? Subscription food delivery. Well, here's where they could have done better. Instead of subscribe, what could they do, right? What would increase their conversion, their click conversion on this, is to change the word subscribe to learn more. That dramatically would increase their click through. Okay. Discover, that's pretty good, right? Sample farm bundles and saying discover instead of like shop. That's smart. That's great, right? We like to see that. But so discover's good. I would say discover, discover bundles or discover something, but that's good. Here we go. So this was what we would call a primary call to action. They are not using it as a primary call to action, but at least they have it, which they have this giveaway, right? So they're trying to do one of our two main priorities here is to get people to give us their contact info and get on our email list. And so they've got a giveaway, right? You click through, so smart. They've also got a video. I don't know if it's a good video, but they are using a video, which is awesome, right? It looks like they're just educating the consumer with this video. It's like a how to make kebab. So that's great. Delicious and nutritious. This is where, man, I'll tell you what, this video, I don't know anything about this video, but even just the still frame of this video, I would take that sucker and take it up here and just drop it right in. I would change out this steak image and put that image, that main website, main homepage image, that header image would be of a family, a happy family, right? So I would not have that at the bottom. I would have that at the top. Okay. So you click on a product category like beef, takes us to, right? It actually, they break it down because they have tons and tons of products. It breaks it down to further into other product categories. So steaks, ground beef. If all you're selling is beef, then your product categories at the top could be like steaks, ground beef, burgers and sliders, roasts, right? Bundles. Okay. So that's what it could be for you. Okay. Again, yep. So now they have products. You click on product, takes you to a product page. We're not even going to review theirs because this is so bad. Honestly, as a product page, it's so terrible. But let me show you. And I'm just showing you these examples to illustrate that like there is kind of a standard format, meaning homepage, product category, product page, and checkout. But as far as what's on the product page, terrible. Like most businesses are just terrible. Or on the homepage, they're terrible. So hopefully you won't be after this training. Okay, first thing when you go to Omaha Steaks is they have what's called a pop-up. They've got this pop-up, and what are they trying to do? Well, our number one priority. They're trying to capture the contact information of the person who's visiting their website. Okay. You could do this like a $25 off that works. I would rather have you do a $25 gift card because saying that $25 off is discounting, whereas providing a gift card is giving something of value. Okay, it's very different. They're light years apart when it comes to the psychology of buying. Giving someone a gift card, you're positioning your product as valuable. Offering someone like a $25 off, you're decreasing the value in the mind of the customer. Okay, so we want to always increase the value or the perceived value. All right, so here, look at this. First thing they've done wrong. Again, I shouldn't say that they've done it wrong because they have a different business model than you do. Okay, their business model is volume, right? And a big part of their business is wholesale stuff. So they have a completely different business model. All right, they're trying to sell literally tens of millions of pounds a year. Okay, so you do not want to do this because look at all those things that you could click on. Super confusing. And the confused mind rarely says yes, right? People just leave. So they do have product categories, right? So let's click on, steaks, click on that. Takes us probably to another, let's see. There you go. Takes us to some product pages, right? Omaha Steaks has done a better job than US Wellness Meats with their product pages, a slightly better job. And we'll actually leave this open because I'll show you specifically what they've done well. Okay. All right. So we'll skip Chicago Steak Company for the sake of time. Product pages, the elements of your product pages. So went homepage, product category, product page. The elements of these are all the things that you want to have on your product page. The vast majority have an image of what they're selling, the price, and a button where they can click, people can click to buy. That's not enough. Okay, that's not enough. That doesn't work. It's not effective. So do all of these things. Essential elements of product pages that convert visitors into buyers. Number one is a benefit headline. The headline that you use on your product page should state one of the benefits to the customer, right? So if the product is like a bundle of beef, then it could be like, happy family beef bundle, right? Like that's a benefit, is a happy family, man, or the peace of mind steak box, right? Like that's a benefit. Okay, so use headlines that have benefits in them. High quality images, this is huge. When I say carousel of image, that's going to be something like, let's see who's got it. Yeah, North Face right here. This is a carousel of images. There's a bunch of different images. Okay, these guys, this is a carousel of images. Okay, so you want to provide multiple images of not just the product, but any bonuses that you offer. Let's see. Omaha Steaks does not have multiple. They usually do, actually. So high quality images, this is huge. This is like the lowest hanging fruit on your product pages, just to get good images. That doesn't mean you need to be a great photographer, though. If there were one skill, if there were two skills that would be worth investing your time into acquiring, it would be copywriting. So being able to write good sales copy, and product photography. So, because those are the things that, those are the longest levers in your marketing that you can pull that will produce outsized results, like the biggest results, is the copywriting and the images that you use. So high quality images are awesome. You can take some, if you get like a good light like I have, then you can use like your iPhone. Your iPhone could work great if you nail the lighting, right? If you nail the lighting, your iPhone could work great. Next, video. If you can throw a video, again, that's another, you want to have a video on there. And the video would be, for example, let's say that the product itself is selling a quarter beef. Well, then the images should be, you should have images of every cut, right? You should have an image of like a quarter beef in like a stand-up freezer, what that looks like, so the customer can like see it in their minds, like, oh, this is what it will look like when it's in my freezer, right? This is how much space it's going to take up. They can begin to imagine and visualize the end result, right? You want to get them to think past the sale. Okay. If you can do that, then you're halfway home, right? So other images you could show is like spread out on a table with like a good overview photo of like all of the different cuts that are in that quarter beef. Okay. And then in the video, if you use a video, it would be just like you standing behind a table or at the kitchen at a counter with everything spread out, or you in the freezer or whatever. Just like showing like, hey, this is what you get when you buy the quarter beef today. This is what we've done. We've done this. We've raised it this way, and we've got this cuts. You get this round roast, and you get this chuck roast, and all these steaks. Can you look at all these steaks, right? You pull out a big box of steaks, and you're like, you got ribeye, you got flank steak, you got. So it's just showing them what they're getting. Okay. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. If you just show them what they're going to get, you're so far ahead of the game. A benefits list. This is just listing out like all of the benefits to them, right? So what are the benefits to like that your product offers, right? And this is where you could talk about the protein, the quality of protein, or the grams of protein per ounce or per pound, or you could talk about the number of servings or the number of family dinners, right? That your product offers. Or you could talk about the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids and what that does for your heart health and how that will help you sleep better, right? So it's not just saying like, hey, this has 28 grams of protein per serving. It's like, and this is what it will do for you, right? And this is high quality beef protein that's going to allow your muscles to repair themselves after a hard workout, right? Or like, so that's the benefit, is like to be able to recover from a hard workout. That's the benefit. The benefit is not the fact that there's 28 grams of protein per serving. Okay, that would be a feature, right? The feature is the grams per serving. The benefit is the recovery, right? Being able to recover faster. So the next thing is multiple purchase options. This is a big one. You can see it. You see it all over the place. You see it on here. Let me pull up like Amazon. Go to Amazon. We'll just click on, yeah, like that. Okay, look at multiple purchase options. Usually there are multiple purchase options. Yeah, I mean, down there, you've got essentially their multiple purchase options on this product is new or used, right? So you can $19 right there, or you can go down here and click new or used. Oftentimes, if it's like a food product, hold on. I don't even know how to use Amazon. Okay, let's see. Grass-fed beef jerky. Let's just click on that. Yeah, here you go. Multiple purchase options. One-time purchase or subscribe and save. Okay, so that is a great example of multiple purchase options. Having that, like, you don't have to have the subscribe and save. You could just have subscribe, right? Or you could just have automate. You could have buy, like, let's say your product was a steak box. You could have 14-day dry aged steaks, or you could have 28-day dry aged, right? So that's multiple purchase options. But you definitely, if you do this, if right now your website, you only have one purchase option on your product page, it's just like buy or shop, right? Or buy now, add to cart. I can't make any guarantees, but I can promise that if you will add a multiple, like another purchase option, so they're choosing between which one instead of yes or no, I can promise you that your sales will go up. Okay, that, like, literally your sales could double with that one thing. We see it all the time, all the time. This is one of the low-hanging fruit for your website to increase that sales conversion. Okay, so add a multiple purchase option. The other is multiple payment options. Okay, so they can maybe pay through PayPal or Klarna, or let me show you what that would look like. Let's go back here. We click on this KUIU thing. We click add to cart. Add to cart. And now go up to the cart, continue to checkout. Click checkout. Scroll down, multiple payment options right here. Credit card or debit card or PayPal or Klarna. Okay, that's having multiple payment options. That will also increase your sales conversion. Okay, because a lot of people don't want to give you their dang credit card or their debit card number, especially if they've just found you, right? And they don't know you that well, and they're about to make their first order, place their first order. And so if you can offer like PayPal, right, or one of these like credit, like consumer financing options like Klarna, then that will increase your sales. Okay. And there are a bunch of those like Klarna, PayPal, ShopPay, Afterpay, Affirm. These are all consumer financing. Okay. And most of them are soft credit checks. So if someone clicks on the Klarna or clicks on the ShopPay, Afterpay, whatever, it won't run a hard credit check. A hard credit check actually counts against your credit, right? Where they pull the full credit. A soft check does not negatively impact someone's credit. So yeah, these two right here will really increase your sales conversion. And then a product description, right? You want to talk about not what it is, but what it will do for your customer. Okay. So don't talk so much about how the fact, like, yeah, state that it's grass-fed, state that it's what, yada, 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 but then talk about what that means, what it will do for the customer, right? Because they don't care so much what it is, they care what it will do for them, right? And so is this going to help them hit their weight loss goals? Is this going to help them live a more healthy lifestyle, right? Because they might not, you might, right? Because we are our own worst customers. First of all, you and I would never go drop $10 a pound for ground beef, but millions of people in North America would and are right now. And so we are our own worst customers, right? So we want to talk about what's in it for them, right? What it will do for them. And when we talk about like, hey, we as producers have a tough time linking up like steak, like here's my steak, you'll eat my steak and somehow your life will improve. But isn't it true that that's what happens, right? Like think about even just like moments around the campfire, eating hot dogs with your kids, right? Or having like a delicious bag of popcorn, watching a family, like a movie at home with the family. Like that can definitely add to that incredible experience. That can add to that increase in quality of life. And that's what you're doing. And so that's what in the product description you should be talking about. It's like paint that picture, help them think beyond the sale, beyond the fact that this is grass-fed beef, and into like making memories with their grandkids around, on Sunday family dinners, right? Or like just paint that picture. Use that rather than this is what it is. Think this is what it is and this is what it will do for you. Okay, product description. Social proof. This is another big one. Testimonials, ratings, reviews. And so we want to remember, think of your target customer avatar, right? And when you use testimonials, like if you're trying to sell to these busy moms, who love to cook and want to eat healthy, then don't use testimonials from single like bachelors, right? Because that's not going to resonate with who you're trying to sell to. Use testimonials from busy moms who like to cook healthy, right? Kind of common sense stuff. And then this one is huge, is the guarantee, right? And these all play into the three buying triggers that people have. Okay, the three buying triggers, is three psychological buying triggers are: people buy based on emotion, how they feel about something; people buy based on logic, how they can think through things, and if it all adds up; and then people buy based on like the fear of missing out, right? And so, and most of your buyers are going to be buying based on emotion, and so that's where like everything that we're doing, we're talking to their emotion, right? We're talking to their emotion and the benefits, the product description, the social proof, the testimonials. We're speaking to the emotion, right? We're showing them other people that are like them. Okay. And then like the multiple purchase options and multiple payment options, and then the guarantee and even the social proof. This is where it's more logic focused, like the logic buyers, the people that they want to see like, oh, okay, here's how it works. This is what I can do. Here are my options. Other people have done it. The guarantee, logical buyers love the guarantee because it makes them, they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. If I don't like it, here's the guarantee. Emotional buyers love the guarantee because it makes them feel good about buying. All right. The stronger your guarantee, the more people will buy and the fewer people will ask for their money back. That is proven. Okay. The stronger your guarantee, so the longer you guarantee and just the better the guarantee, that will mean that you'll have a higher sales conversion and fewer overall people will ask for their money back. Because what it does is it like kind of, we convince ourselves when there's an incredible guarantee, when you're selling beef and you're like, hey, 12-month guarantee, we guarantee, or your full money back. People are like, on beef, nobody does that. Man, this must be incredible. These guys surely believe in their product, right? It makes the consumer feel good, right? It sets them at ease. Okay, so guarantees are powerful. And then the FAQ. All right, the FAQ. And these are not in order of how they should appear on the product page. There is not a single one way that can happen, right? You can have the FAQ up in the middle. You can have the guarantee up towards the top. You could have the video at the very top or at the bottom. The FAQ generally is towards the middle or the bottom, okay? And the FAQ is just frequently asked questions. Like, what are the most common questions that people have before they buy, okay? And then, all right, we'll go through and I'll show you some examples of some great, we just have a couple minutes left. Okay, so here's an example from outside the industry. All right, I'm going to show you from outside the industry to kind of get your creative juices flowing. All right. So this is Schoolyard Snacks and low carb keto cereal. That's what they're selling. Look at all these testimonies. The social proof is right up top, right? 6,900 reviews. And then the social proof, like helping like 188 sold in the last 22 hours. That's powerful too. Because it's like, you won't be the first, right? You're not the only. We're not like, we're legit. We've been around. We've sold out 4 times already. There's over 3 million bags sold in 2020. Talk about just stacking on the trust and the proof, right? Join 200,000 other people who switched to Schoolyard Snacks, right? And then what's this? Select bundle. It's the multiple product options, right? You can buy 4 or 2 or etc., right? You can choose your product. And then, hey, what do you know? Well, that's carousel of image, right? Image carousel, okay? Down here, the multiple purchase options. You can do a one-time purchase or you can subscribe and save, right? Their product recommendation, that's nice. Here's kind of like just the facts, right? The features, and then the FAQ, right? The trust bar right there as seen in, and then some more social proof, and then even more testimonials, right? So they're just layering on the testimonials. So that's awesome. Next, Magic Spoon cereal. Okay, same thing. And your product pages don't need to be all crazy designed. Yours can be a white background. Okay, just a plain white background. All right. But yeah, they're trying to capture the email. Very smart. Got that pop up. Social proof up top, subscribe and save, multiple purchase options, right? And multiple quantity, multiple product options. And then the features, right? Ingredients, nutritional panel, and then testimonials. Perfect. Keto. And you guys just drop doc, the word doc in the comments, and we'll make sure to get you this document we have that has links to all of these pages. It has all the notes. Keto bars. So same thing, purchase option or product options, multiple purchase options. There's a benefits list, when to use. So this is kind of like a how it works, right? How you would use it anytime, anywhere. So these are, they're speaking to the customer pain right here. Finding a low carb keto snack shouldn't be so hard. Awesome. And then ingredients, press reviews, that's their trust bar. There's some social proof, and then recipes. Okay. Last, we'll do this coffee company. All right. So what do you notice? Carousel, image carousel, reviews up top, multiple purchase options, multiple quantities, multiple product options, features, benefits. They've got a video. Yep, the benefits right there. As featured in, there's their trust bar, and then more reviews. So, all right, we've covered, the time is up. We've been on this for an hour now, but that is how to think about a website. That's specifically how to think about the customer value journey, your customer avatar, who you're targeting, and how that really determines everything that you do on your website. It determines the words that you use, the images that you use, the offers that you make, the products, right, the bundles, everything. So start there. And please go apply this stuff. Like, don't just let it sit, because like this stuff, I mean, it's taken me 15 plus years to learn all of this through literally millions and millions and millions of dollars of trial and error and revenue and just like mistakes and some successes. But it's been a long, hard road to learn all of this stuff, and very costly. And so please, I'm trying to invest into you, invest into your success. Take this gift and apply it. Take action. You don't have to do everything perfectly. Let me give you, as a last word, let me give you that permission. You do not have to do any of this stuff perfectly. You just need to do it little by little. Okay. 80%, doing something 80% is better than 100%, because 80% is already getting results while 100% is still thinking about it. Okay. So when you get something to 80%, man, push it out there, launch it, do it. Okay. Yeah. So I hope you've enjoyed this masterclass on website optimization, and please go apply this stuff. Just a few little things can literally double or triple your sales conversion on your website. And that's what I want for you. If you have any interest in working with us and working with our team, then reach out, send us a direct message, comment in the video, anything. Send me a personal DM, and we can talk about how that might work out and what we can do together to help you thrive and flourish in your business. But thanks for joining me today, guys, and I will see you throughout the week in the group. And those of you who are already private clients, I'll see you shortly. All right, see you guys.